In this video, you'll learn how to use a search window within Logos, especially being able to isolate one particular word and compare usages to see where in the sentence that word tends to be used, comparing a variety of verses. What we'll use for our exploration comes from John 19:42, and we're looking at this word ekei, meaning there. The question then is, does this word by obligation, must it always appear first in a sentence? Is there a rigid syntax to it? Or can it appear at various places in the sentence? And that will help us appreciate whether it's being positioned here for emphasis or whether it's got to be there and there's no emphasis involved. We'll begin by using selecting the word with the left click of the mouse, and let's copy that word. We're going to want to paste that later on. Next, we'll want to open a search window. The way to do that is up towards the upper left, the search panel magnifying glass. Click on that. Mine chose to open up in the far right half of the window. That's actually where I want it. Sometimes it'll show up in a different window of your partitioned desktop. So just to demonstrate, you can move it where you want it. Right now I'm clicking and dragging that search tab. Whatever is darkened, if I were to release it at this time, it would occupy the upper 25% of the left side. If I were to release it now, it would occupy the lower 25%. I'm just moving it around. I don't want it there. I actually want it where it started out. Full right half of the screen darkened. I'll release there. And there it is. Next, we want to be sure that we are using what's called a morphology search. You can see there are various kinds of search: Bible Basic Media, Clause, Morphology, and Syntax. We want morphology. If it didn't by default open to morphology, you want to click on the Morph tab. It should read all morph text in the first option of the various options across the top. That's fine. The second option after the preposition in is also has a different color, should show up blue. If you hover over that and then click, the range that it will search for you can be either expanded or restricted. Right now mine happens to default on the Gospels. If instead I wanted to explore all of the Bible available within whatever version or whatever selection I'm searching, I would choose entire Bible. Notice how that changed. If I wanted to select only Matthew, Mark, and Luke and limit my search to the Synoptic Gospels, I could do that. What we're interested, I think what will help us most here today, let's go with the entire Bible. That's the range of search that it will conduct. And next it's asking us which Bible we want to use. Do we want to use Nestle Aland Greek? Click on that and you can see a variety of options. There'll be Bibles, right? Since this is a morphology search, we'll be in a Bible. Do you want to search English Standard Version? No, we want a Greek option. Either Nestle Aland, or why don't we switch to UBS 4? There we are. The Greek New Testament 4th Revised Edition is UBS 4. Next, we want to make a note then in the query box that will indicate what it is that we're going to search for. We are looking for a specific Greek word. A good way to do that is to type the word lemma. This will tell Logos what kind of a search we're interested in. So type in English the word lemma followed by a colon. You'll need to follow it by a colon. And then without any spaces, we're going to want to paste or type in our focal word, which is ekei. Let's go ahead and paste. Here we're able to simply use a right mouse click and paste the ekei word that we earlier copied. Logos at this time automatically, with no action on our part, it notices what we pasted in and it asks us which of these related words would we like to select. We do want ekei, the first one that's offered, meaning there, semicolon in that place, so we'll click on that. I found it's important to actually affirm one of the word options being offered by Logos rather than just trusting my pasted or typed word. The logic within the system seems to work much more smoothly if I'll affirm, yes, the word you're offering me is the one I want. You can either type enter, click the enter key, or you can click on this right arrow in order to activate the search. In the upper right, you'll notice 3 display patterns, either versus, or aligned, or analysis. You'll want to click on aligned to be sure that that's the layout that's displayed. You can see here we don't have a lot of column information. It's simply previous context, the hit, and then following context for each given Bible verse. This is going to serve us best when we're asking the question, when a New Testament writer uses the word ekei, does it always show up in the same place in the sentence? Is it one of those words that must always appear first, as we see in John 19:42? Or is it more flexible? Is it rigid, or is it flexible in its word sequence? We call it the syntax, the order in which it appears. Let's scroll down in order to see what John does with it, because in our, as you've learned from Bible Study Techniques courses, we want to watch initially what is the style that the same writer uses. Since we're in John chapter 19, let's see what he tends to do within that gospel. And so starting with verse 2, we can see that ekei shows up there at the end of a verse. Incidentally, if you wanted to look at that more closely, just click on the site, and you can see that the Greek version in the left, the Greek original, has paged to that point. So we begin to answer our question, is ekei obliged to appear first, as it does in John 19:42? No. It can with equal ease appear last. Another natural question was, must it be either first or last? We don't have to go far, as you can see through the John examples, to realize it can appear in a what we might call a medial or a middle position at various places along. The final question we can ask then would be, well, where does it tend to show up? What would tend to be the most frequent position in which it appears? First, last, or middle? And I'll leave it to you to review that and to see if we can draw any inferences. Notice these are inferences. This is not a solid grammatical rule. We're just looking for tendencies within John's style. If we wanted to explore even further, we could survey, scrolling back up to the beginning of Matthew, we could see New Testament writers generally. Where do they tend to use the word ekei? Consequently, then, this can leave us with an inference that if we encounter the usage of ekei in an unusual, in a less common position in a sentence, perhaps, we are underscoring that, perhaps it is there in such a way that would capture the attention of the hearer, and they say, oh, I'm hearing that word where I don't usually hear it. And consequently, it may lodge in their attention, grab their ears, as it were, a little more forcefully. And then we would want to sense that, to detect that tone as well in our understanding of the English.